fall back on me. If you lose it all, I'll be right here for you, waiting. Just trust me, and I'll take the pain away. You must take my hand, yeah, I got to get away. I got your back, babe. I got your back, babe. Do you trust me with your life, with your life, with your life? Do you trust me with your life, with your life, with your life?
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Tonight with me, I have my lovely co host, Mina, as always. We're not 100% sure where Filia is. She might join later on. She might not be feeling the best, so we will see what happens. But our guest tonight is Chase Lamb. He's a very good friend of mine and a very talented author.
Heyo. I hope everybody's having a good day today, or Night, depending on the time zone where you are.
Yep.
And I would say
I was gonna leave that for you to say. I wasn't gonna put words in your mouth. So who do we got in the chat right now? Hi, Jellybean.
Hey, Jellybean. Hello, Dexter.
We got Dexter as our as my brain likes to just continuously still call him DeQuester.
Yeah, and we've also got to be careful. Nighttime's coming, and if any of you guys have seen Dexter, we all know what he does at night.
Cleans up the streets.
So we may have to be a little bit careful. Dexter, stay with us, man. This will be the alibi that we can provide for you.
Yep. It's me and Mina behind the wheel.
Yes. Well.
And
yep, Portuguese. Well, a couple years ago, actually, Portuguese actually turned into a school project. I never really intended to write something like that because in college, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I took a creative writing course. And the goal that my teacher wanted to give us was to write a story about 3,000, 5,000 words, and they gave us a week to do it. The original plot line was supposed to be a couple of teenagers go into an abandoned asylum, and they find this patient record of a person that they knew as a friend, and that this person was actually a killer. But as I got writing it, it just kind of turned into like this is kind of cliche, you go into an asylum, you find something, and it just didn't sound right to me. So I kind of to start thinking I can write this into a creepy pasta type of like thing. So instead of them going into an asylum and finding a somewhat artifact or some type of ritual that will get them in trouble, I decided to get them in a sort of situation that they had to escape and live or die where only one of them can escape. A great story. Took me a while to write and a while to honestly release because getting that done 100% was always a little bit of a challenge. I wrote one version, didn't like it. Wrote a second, didn't like it. And it took a couple years, but it eventually got released on YouTube.
now with
It turns out that anybody who wanted to, I guess, participate in a voice, because there's actually 13 people in this, because Portuguese, the full video is actually on YouTube under Vidith22's channel, and it's got 13 people, including myself. We've got Swamp Dweller, Unit 522, Vidith22 Spirit Voices, and our own Jensen narrator, Dr. Creepin, Demon Creep, Cormorreeds, Time 6, Mandy, our own Crowflies, and my own mother, honestly. And I voiced a little bit. And a couple of the
voiced
people
the psychotic doctor.
I did voice the psychotic doctor. And oh gosh, getting into that voice, it was always a challenge at first, but then I was able to voice them with no consequence. It usually took me a little bit, like I had to clear my throat a couple times, go ahem, get into the evil doctor, and all of a sudden, hello, I can kill you right now. It just got, I could just do it right now, and I did research, and apparently, if you can do a voice off the top of your head without having to second guess or try to get your voice into that, then that person becomes a part of your personality.
Oh, you
and
mean
now
like
I'm scared
this?
that. So yeah, I'm like, oh no, I've got a killer doctor in my head now.
Dude, I have a few of those voices. Like, I have my welcome travelers. I'll have my French fry taters voice.
You know, when you say that, it reminds me of a Sovereign. I'm not sure who here has played the Mass Effect series, but
I have.
yep. So you know Sovereign, like Reaper, a label given to us by the Protheans. Be capable of their destruction. In the end, they choose to cost. Almost like a bad Batman. Those are what the Reapers sound like. And pretty much, Reapers are things that come every 50,000 years to pretty much kill all of humanity and every organic being throughout the galaxy.
Yeah,
in
but
a kind of way.
Like the funny thing is, like all the voices that I do, I don't really practice them. I just like slide into them like that. Like the old one story where I did an old man. I started talking like this, and it just fucking. I'm like, you know what? It's not a bad old man. We're gonna roll with it.
Whenever I do an old man, I just kind of sound like this. I don't know. I kind of.
Dude, if you listen to Trick or Treat that I wrote and the old man I did, you just listen to it and you hear like Herbert the pervert from Family Guy mixed with fucking Yoda, and it's the best thing ever.
You got popsicle busting?
I tweeted it. Welcome to my realm.
And
Hey, what's up, yo?
he was voicing in the original. What's it called? I'm hoping to get a second version out with everybody else. Honestly, since it's all written, done, and all that stuff, I'm going to try and get it out on another person's channel and just get it out there because honestly, it has just been the story that I've been proud of. I've worked so hard on it, and it finally got released, and I was so happy that it got out there. Because, welcome, Danny.
Yeah. If Chase, if you want to know how much I enjoyed that story, just go ask Vidith how much I bugged him about when the next part was coming out.
Maybe maybe I should call him up right now.
There's part I'm like, hey, when's part 2 coming up? And he told me that, and then like there was like a really short, there was like a longer pause, and he said, I'm like, dude, you said like a week. He's like, yeah, some problems with lines came in, and I'm like, oh, damn it.
Yeah, and Dustin was actually also messaging me on my Facebook here saying, "Hey, when's part 2 coming out? When's part 2 coming out?" I'm like, "We'll get there. We'll get there." He's like, "You're the author, you know." I'm like,
What?
I'm saying, I don't want to make a date because then Dustin will be like, "You lied to me," and I don't want to get him all riled up. It's always hard, you know.
But there's another story Vid's doing about being able to see demons or something like that, and it's a really long series, and I'm just waiting, like chomping at the bit for the next part because it's so freaking good.
Oh gosh, man! Oh, I hate those stories. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of Baraska. Very great creepypasta. PK Walker. I remember when they made a sequel to the first one because not a lot of people like the ending to the first one. I am not going to give that out because fantastic story. Baraska is Borrasca, in case anybody is wanting to write that down.
Has narrated it, and it's a really good story.
Oh yes, and you know, there's some creepy pastas where you get the ending and you're just like, really? That's it? But you don't know that they're making a sequel. And CK Walker, who is the author, I'm 95% sure. I just don't want to accidentally get out a wrong person. I think it's CK Walker. I'm just going to go with that. If I'm wrong, my apologies. And he came out with it, I think it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and every day I would just wait and wait for a new sequel, and then at the top right on YouTube, the little notification bar would come up and like, ooh, new video, and only to find out it's another story. And you're just waiting, and it's so frustrating.
Dude, I'm very... Yeah. So I'm very much like Chase was with Baraska, with I ride or I drive for server, with Nature's Temper narrating that, because that is so freaking good.
Oh wow,
Yeah, which he hasn't done a new part in forever.
that roommate better be wearing a lot of suits. I know some people can just do that. Like I can't remember who the famous movie actor is, but he could make all the noises and the voices. He was in Spaceballs. He did the radar noises. I can't remember his name. Yeah, and he's making like he's all making the noises when it happens too. And you're like, holy crap, like, was that on his first attempt, or did it take, like, 10 takes, or...
What movie are you talking about?
Spaceballs. Oh, wow. I bet if you had a dad like that and your kid was crying, that baby would like never cry, because you would always just have those noises.
Were you
and all
guys
that
talking
stuff.
about Michael Winslow?
I'm not sure. I don't remember his name. It was
the black guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Michael Winslow. Hey, did you know Ron Perlman was in Police Academy? Because I didn't.
Oh wow! I haven't seen Police Academy in start the Jeopardy music, because I have no idea how long.
I'm not gonna do much more. I don't want to get copyright struck on this channel.
I'm trying to think of when I watched that, because that was a long time ago.
That movie came out 2 years before I was even born.
I think it was 84, but don't quote me.
Yeah, it was 84.
Oh wow, is it really?
Yeah, I was born in 86. That's why I said it came out 2 years before I was born.
Oh well, shoot. Well, if I knew when you were born, then I would have got it right on the dot then. And when we were talking about sequels, it kind of reminded me. I've been thinking about not a sequel of Poltergeist, but without going into too much detail, the antagonist is kind of a crazy person. Not going to give any info on him, because I don't want to ruin anything in case the person writes it. But it's a person that drives from being sane to insanity. So I'm thinking about having like one of those journal series, like day 1, day 10. And as the days increase, you start to see the progressive insanity of the character, and how his life's changing, and why he's becoming more insane, and how he starts to just get to the edge of the teeter-tot, to where his sanity is now near gone, where he barely knows right from wrong, and just thinks wrong is the new right. I was thinking about doing a prequel there, but I'm currently distracted by my current one that the title is yet to be announced. It's actually called. I'm thinking about calling it The Dream Room. So far, there's really been, as I said, no official title, because usually what I do is that I write the story and then I name it.
I'm the opposite. Like I won't name the story until after I'm done. If I don't come up with a really good title, whenever I start the story, like I'll like for example, I'm working on a book about a serial killer who paralyzes someone, and whenever he they're in their bed, and whenever he kills them, it looks like a heart attack. And I called him the sleep, and I had him refer to himself as a sleep stalker. So that freaking got its title right there, just the sleep stalker. I'm like, that title just wrote itself.
Write that down. Write that down.
There was a movie about a sleep stalker, but I don't think they called him sleep stalker. Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Well, I was asking them because y'all were hearing me, but they weren't hearing me very well.
Well, great. Now I look like the fool because I replied to that.
No. Don't worry about it. And I'm probably coming out of one side because of the way this is working. I'm working on fixing that too.
I was going to say, oh, great. If they can't hear you, then I'm just talking to myself.
No.
Well, I did say how the character that I voiced was driving himself to insanity. I don't think we've got to make a story now. I think we're witnessing it.
Well.
Well, guys, please tell me you can hear me so I don't sound crazy.
Okay, I'm turning myself up. I'm up as loud as I can be, but you guys know me. I'm a soft talker to begin with. All right.
Everybody can hear me, correct?
They can hear you, and they can hear Dustin. PA.
Yeah. What's up?
What's up, man?
What's down?
So yeah, what's down? What brought you into horror?
Into horror? I would probably have to say the Saw series, honestly. You can call my parents kind of horrific, but the first movie I saw was Saw, no pun intended, and I was maybe 6 or 7 when I saw that. It came out a while ago, and one of my first 3 video games was Saw. Again, I remember it was Saw, TNA, and Halo 3, and I don't know why it was, but I was just playing Saw, and I just liked the series. And then I started just, through my time when I was young, I would only watch horror. And my mom was like, "You okay?" And my dad was like, "You okay? Kids aren't supposed to like that." And I remember one time, my aunt was like, "Holy crap," because I'm not sure, anybody here remember The Strangers?
Yes.
15 years ago? Yeah, I wanted to see that movie in theaters. When I saw that, I was like, ooh, I want to see that. And again, I think that came out in 2008, 13 years ago, so I was...
Yeah, it's an older movie, too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but that's a great movie.
Yeah, it is a good. It's a really good movie.
Yeah, so that came out in 2008, I think. I think. So I was 9 or 10.
That's okay. That's okay, Chase. I was watching Child's Play and fucking Children of the Corn when I was like 6 or 7 years old, and I live surrounded by cornfields. So watching Children of the Corn and living right beside nothing but cornfields, that's nightmare fuel for you. But I never had nightmares or anything, and my mom was like, "He's not normal." And my dad was like, "Man, there's a 50-50 chance he's a serial killer, and we just haven't figured it out yet."
So
and honestly, really, no movies bugged me. It was kind of weird. I guess the only one that really kind of bugged me in a weird way was The Hills Have Eyes.
I love that movie so much.
I know. Looking back on
both the original and the remake, I love them both.
Here's the thing, and I noticed this in when I was watching some movies lately. If I don't get a little bit creeped from the movie, I don't really consider it a horror movie. And I've been watching some true crime movies, and they really haven't affected me the way that horror movies do, but some of them do. And it's kind of weird putting them against each other, you know?
Well, the best scary stories is to have something that can possibly happen in real life.
And those are the scariest.
Like in my stories, you're not going to see a ghost going through walls or lamps lifting themselves up and going around the room or TVs flickering on and off. I don't think I've really had any type of, I guess you could say, paranormal activity. I mean, I've got this thing that roams the halls of an asylum, but again, it's more of a thing that was created by a mad experiment, not some type of ghost. I've got one when there's the devil, another one when there's a weird werewolf creature. It's based off of a god creature-like thing. I can't remember what it's called, but it's based off a creature. And another one where it's just kind of like a person where they're just trying to decide if they want to kill somebody or not. So I don't get into the type of spiritual type of ghost is going to come and possess people. No. I think I'd be lying about that one a little bit. There was the Old Man of Trinity, another good one, honestly. Also, Evil Outcast is what's called Evil Outcast narrated that one too. I believe if he's still in the stream, thanks Evil Outcast for narrating that one. That is the Old Man of Trinity. Go check that out on his channel. He did a fantastic job.
Yep,
that was about a 40-minute one, and that's maybe the closest paranormal I've got. And it's not so paranormal. But the best that you can do is, do something that's real. That's why The Strangers got, fantastic horror reviews, honestly, because it wasn't people. The thing is that they weren't attacking the victims themselves. It was a game of cat and mouse. Because I remember she opens the window and she sees the guy staring at her.
Yeah.
And then they drove a truck and like the main villains of it, there's 3 people, 2 girls and a guy, and they drove a truck and they kept screwing with them. Bashing windows, knocking on the doors, hitting the walls of the house. And then
Evil Outcast says, "No problem, bud. Be glad to narrate more from you if that's okay."
That one that I might be coming up with, that one I called the Dream Room. I might be needing a narrator for that soon. Almost done the first part. Not sure how many parts I'm gonna. Not sure how many parts I'm gonna make it into. But and when it comes to The Strangers, you see one scene. There's a truck coming, and you're not sure, is it them again? Is it going to be another person? And it's just the husband coming back from going to the store or something like that. He had to leave to go somewhere. And that's where it gets to you, because now you're the audience. You second guess yourself. Is he part of the crew that was, terrifying the people? Or are they just 3 random maniacs?
Right. And the best horror is something that could be real. It's, I there was a program, I don't know if you can get it anymore. It was way back when HBO and Showtime were young, called Autopsy. And
oh my gosh. Yeah, I remember that.
It was a factual show about autopsies, and and I love the I can't think of his name right now, but I love the forensic pathologist that was featured on it. He would go through the cases and explain what happened and how the person doing the autopsy discovered the things that had happened to the body and to the person. And I mean, it was amazing show. And like I said, you may not be able to find it anywhere anymore. But those things, I mean, it's like he had the doctor on there that stole the body of his patient after she died and kept building it up and fixing it as it fell apart, as it disintegrated, and was treating her like his wife.
So pretty much like a real life version of Frankenstein.
But she was dead, and literally he had, plastered her back together, and her family had no idea that he had done this.
I know, it's so weird how some things can just reemerge and you just never know it. Like, you remember the Golden State Killer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, remember, they didn't catch him just till a couple years ago. He was a ruthless killer in the 70s to the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Killed, I think it was 18 people. Don't quote me on that, but I know it was above 15. And then in 2019, they just get him from DNA. It's just weird. And honestly, that's where it comes into play, in my opinion, the biggest question of all serial killers. Who is the Zodiac Killer?
And I was watching, there's a movie based on Zodiac Killer.
Just called Zodiac.
This one's like Resurrected Zodiac or something like that. Basically, it's about a couple who find a video, 8. You guys probably have no idea. I don't even know about these, but they were home videos that the Zodiac Killer, quote unquote, made of his killings.
I heard about those.
And this brings back into their life the Zodiac Killer. And it goes through how that happened. And it was a pretty good movie. Not factual, but no, they have not identified the Zodiac Killer. They don't know who he was. They're still guessing.
If the movie was accurate, and I think at least for this part it was, they had a pretty good idea of who it was.
Yeah.
They didn't have the actual evidence to back it up. So even though the cop going off his instincts was, and I think he was correct, the evidence pretty much, the lack of physical evidence, but just the way everything was shaping up. Who they suspect was the killer, I think
it was Arthur Lee Allen. I think.
Yeah,
that's
I'm pretty sure that's who it actually was. But
yeah,
evidence to back it up.
But it was so.
He skated.
It was so confusing if he was the killer or not, because there was a couple of friends that said he always wanted to hunt people, and he owned this Zodiac watch, and some of the symbols that he wrote was actually from a certain typewriter that he had. And as you know, the killings went on in the 80s, but then from 83 to 91, they stopped.
Actually, they were in the 60s.
Yeah, and wasn't that why that, like, he was in jail or something?
Yeah, in the Zodiac, what's it called? There was
the suspect.
The main suspect, Arthur Lee Allen. He went to what's it called? He went to their main suspect went to jail for molestation.
Mm-hmm.
And in that time, there was never a Zodiac killing.
Yeah.
Until he gets released.
Yeah.
Until he gets released. So it's like, unless somebody is really doing the research on that person and trying to frame them, it really, everything connects back to him. But unfortunately, we die of a heart attack, so you'll never know, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, real quick, Lady Nopingham and Steven just showed up. What's going on, guys?
Yep.
Hey-o.
And we also had Kat, Laura Applewood, show up a little bit ago.
Cat.
Doing good. Yeah, it's, and what's the tagline that it's always scarier when it's real.
Yeah, and I forget what I was watching, but I was watching a documentary about how stupid crimes that the crimes people got away with, but then stupidly got caught for.
Yeah,
and there was this a guy who was like he ran a mortuary, and he dug up one of the corpses because he got it and brought it back to his house, and by the time he got it caught, like years later, it was decaying. He was holding it by hangers, and the only reason he got caught with it was because somebody spotted him dancing with the corpse in an open window.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that reminds me of the serial killer Peter Sutcliffe, and I think he did the. I think he was one of the famous serial killers in the UK.
Yes.
It was people in the UK. Yeah, and nobody suspected him. He was a mail worker, well liked. Nobody suspected him until he got pulled over because his plates were wrong, or he had like expired plates, or it was either a headlight or something with his plates. But he gets pulled over, and in the back seat, he finds a ski mask, an ice pick, a gun, and you're just like, wow, because they had no idea who it was. And then they just make a mistake.
And it's interesting to me to watch how they're being able to pull up these cold cases, and with the evidence that was actually preserved correctly, ironically correctly, because the preservation tactics we have now were not around for some of these. They're able to find out, doing DNA or whatever, who did it.
Like exactly how we were talking about Golden State, again, 40 years ago, and they still had DNA preservatives from the 70s to just, redo it in 2019 and find out who it is.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just incredible.
Yeah, it is. Now, of course, we have other cases that we're never going to know the answer to because they didn't have any kind of evidence and they didn't have any kind of preservatives. And the evidence that, quote unquote, exists is questionable because nobody knows where the chain of custody went, or there was no chain of custody. And it's gone through centuries of hands on different people. And yes, I agree with you, Evil Outcast. Under the jail, in the volcano. Yeah, that sounds good. Sorry.
Into the volcano people go.
Yes.
And how we were talking about the strangers and like how we said earlier about if it's real, it's scary.
Yeah.
Also, in scary movies, in my opinion, if it's people trying to kill you, the best motive is to have no motive.
And that was one of the scariest things about that one was when they said, "Why are you doing this to us?" You answered the door.
Yeah, the simple question: why are you doing this?
You're home.
Because you were home.
Yeah.
Just simple. It was just so. It just shows it was just people kind of going around, knocking on doors, and just killing people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not going to say what happens at the end of the movie. Go see The Strangers. Very great, scary movie.
Yes.
But again, just they have no motive, and it makes you question a lot if the husband is involved with the killings or not.
Yeah. When a Stranger Calls. Now.
Oh yes.
Now that movie, I found a lot about that movie recently. First of all, I don't know how I missed it. The original Babysitter. Do you remember the actress?
Are you talking about the 1980? I mean, the 1979 one, or are you talking about like 2001?
The original.
I think that's Carol Kane.
Yes.
I was gonna say I think it's Carol Kane in '79. Like, how were the children?
Well, and the scariest thing about that, thing about that is she plays the babysitter in the beginning and the mother at the end. And Carol Kane is not known for horror movies, people.
And she did a decent job, in my opinion.
And
she could have been a little bit better, but as you said, she's not really involved in a lot of horror movie stuff. I think she did kind of decent.
And she was very young in that film, which yeah. The guy that played the killer, I can't remember his name right off the top of my head, but
I also think that was Charles Durning, I think.
Might have been. He was dying while they were filming that movie.
Oh wow.
He was actually dying, and he looked very fragile in a lot of the scenes he was in. But he was in awe of Carol. He was like, she is so talented and she is so good and she is so magnificent. And one of the other actresses that's been around a while said, yeah, but so are we. And that helped him get out of that hero idol worship type thing with Carol. But yeah, he was enamored with her talent and how good she was when they first started filming. Now, he actually, if I remember right, he actually died before the film ended filming. They had gotten all his scenes done, but he died before they finished wrapping everything up. So he never actually got to see the movie, which kind of sad in my point of view. But
because you never get to judge yourself if you did really good or not, but he still did really good.
yeah, he did.
And he delivered one of the most iconic catchphrases that you ever see, that you can ever say in a movie, is "Have you checked the children?"
Yeah.
It's one of those movies.
Why
where
haven't you checked the children?
Yeah, you may not know the movie, but as soon as I say, "Have you checked the children?" boom, you'll know exactly where it's from, or you know that.
Or
you know the name.
Or the other line that the cop gets to say, which is iconic as well. The call is coming from the house.
Inside the house.
The call is inside the house.
So, have you guys seen Don't Breathe?
Yes. Oh,
That's
God.
another really good
That's
one.
a good one. That is a good one.
That one really jumped, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was originally supposed to be the people breaking into the house, stealing it, and then it got really crazy towards like the what's it called, the midway point of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like the fact that you're like, do I root for the guys who were breaking and entering and trying to steal from this old man? Or do I root for the old man who's just brutally murdering them for breaking into his house?
Yeah. And Kat, that's the thing, is that is based on an urban legend. The movie was based on an urban legend, but the thing is that it actually did happen. Again, that's one of those urban legends that are real. The urban legend, and I haven't got this up on my channel yet, but I wrote a story about an urban legend as a challenge. Based on
in the back of the car.
Yeah, almost like that. But this was something that actually happened when I was growing up, and I found out that it has continued to happen in the state that I lived in. They have had at least 5 people put in jail for doing this.
Oh shit.
And basically, it's one of the reasons why my dad wouldn't let me drive by myself when I was learning how to drive, because we had a person, a male, who was going around with a blue light in his car and pulling over female drivers and raping and killing them. And one of my friends in high school actually almost got pulled over by him. She pulled into a busy shopping center and he drove off.
And sometimes it's just crazy that in those small moments, we never know how serious an amount of trouble we were about to get in. Because there was actually an interview done by Ted Bundy,
Mm-hmm.
where if he was ever caught, and it was just this, there was this couple walking out in a forest, and this guy steps in something kind of sticky. You know, we all know it's blood at this point,
Yeah.
but they didn't know at the time because it was really dark. And not even 3 feet away from them, hidden in a bush, was Ted Bundy. They didn't know he was there, but he didn't try to kill them because the guy that was with the girl on the date, like, he was a tough guy, 6'5", football player, and Ted's a short guy. He killed people, and one thing about serial killers, if they don't have the element of surprise, then that's when
they have a oh, this sounds horrible, a straight line of things where they follow it. It's almost like OCD for them.
It's like a plan. Like, I'm going to go into this person's house at 10 p.m., that's when they go to sleep. You're going to sneak in through the window. But let's say that person has Charlie sleeping over, and they didn't know it. That screws up everything.
Yeah.
Because, they were going to think said victim was all alone, but, you got your friend or your brother, whoever sleeping over, so now they can't do it.
Or, for that particular night, that even though for the last 2 months they've gone to bed at 10 o'clock at night and the lights have been out and the garage has been closed and the car's been in there and so forth. This particular night, they don't come home until 11 o'clock and
but just finish up on that Ted Bundy date story. They just kind of like walked past him. And he was like, yeah, they were right beside me, 3 feet away. And they never knew that. They never knew Ted Bundy was right behind a bush.
Right.
And fun fact, that was only his first victim.
Wow. And
yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
Yes, Laura, or Kat, method of operation, ritual. They have their ritual that they go through and they follow religiously. It's like
it's that fantasy that they get.
In law enforcement, they call it modus operandi.
Yeah.
Their MO, how they carry out their kills. It's a very, very strict method.
Right.
And a very, very sharp indicator of if you have a serial killer or not is if they take trophies.
Yes.
Or if they have a certain pattern.
If you have like where you see like 4 or 5 different kills and they have nothing in common, but they're missing their left ear, for example, chances are you have a serial killer on your hand. Because what are the chances of you have 4 different bodies being dropped and 4 different killers decided, I want to take this left ear as a trophy with me?
That's why they need and plus they probably do that iconic symbol because they want to have a nickname. Because not sure if any of you guys know, but they're called the Happy Face Killer.
Yeah.
And then there's another guy. There's the BTK Killer, Dennis Rader, because he always.
Oh my God.
BTK.
It was bound, torture, kill.
Yeah.
Bound, torture, kill. Yes, and he got caught for the stupidest reason.
Oh yeah, they were able to. Even after he was done killing, he still taunted police, sending them letters over and over and over again. And, he didn't have to do it. But eventually they were able to track down where he was sending the papers from, and they traced back the ink. It was
actually, it was even stupider than that. He taunted the police to the point that he literally asked them, if I sent you a letter on a disc, could you tell where it came from? And they said no.
Oh, who's that guy? Who's that guy who confessed? Randomly, he killed his parents and like 5 other people, and he wanted to get national attention, but he couldn't get any, so he literally called up saying, hey, I killed my parents and 10 other people. Come and arrest me.
I don't remember. I know the one you're talking about, but I can't remember his name. But BTK, there's pictures of him with his daughter at her college graduation. He was a deacon at his church. That's how they caught him, because he sent a floppy drive to the police that he had used on the church computer that showed his login.
Oh my God.
And all they did was they took the floppy drive and they did forensic IT security on it. That's what I'm going to call it. And
it came right back.
It came right back to him, and they went and they picked him up. And he'd raised a family and everything. It's just like, what?
It's just sometimes it's the people you least expect.
Yeah, like, he was next door neighbor to some of the people he killed. Hey, Ray. But yeah, I killed my parents and 10 other people, and the people didn't believe him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He had to actually call a friend that was a cop to arrest him. He said, "Hey, I'm the so-called killer. I can't remember the nickname that he got from my life." But he's like, I'm the killer, and come and arrest me. No, you aren't. The killer wouldn't do that. So he called up his friend saying, hey, police friend, I'm the killer. Come and get me.
Yeah. It's
And
just, you know.
he wanted media attention.
And
of course he was going to get it.
most of the time, those are the ones that get caught. They want to get caught. They don't realize they want to get caught, but they want to get caught because they go after the attention.
It's all a game to them.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, I can kind of understand it. Like, if any of you guys have ever played Manhunt, very fun game. Very fun game when they're after you. So it's almost like a demented version of Manhunt, but on their own terms.
Yeah.
So I can kind of get why they want to do it, but that's the thing. If you don't give them the attention, it can either go one of two ways.
Well, that's what.
If you don't give them the attention, they're going to do something so horrendous that they will earn the attention from doing something that has never been done, or by pulling an absolute stunt,
Right.
of something, of mass murder or something like that. Or again, like, you never know, they could just confess, try and want to get that.
Mm-hmm. And
People,
it's not something that it's not something that we can understand.
no matter how hard you want to know a serial killer, in my opinion, there's really no way that you'll be able to understand why a serial killer does what he does. Because, everybody's got a different point of view. Apparently, Ted Bundy, said it was hardcore porn. I really don't believe that, but I don't know. And then BTK said, I just wanted to do it because I wanted to do it. So right there, like, he just wanted to do it because, again, he had he just had a really good thrill.
Yeah.
And John Wayne Gacy did it because, again, he thought he was doing the police a favor by killing prostitutes.
Yeah. And
he thought,
homosexual deviants is what I think he called them. But the thing is that he was on that spectrum as well.
I think Gary Ridgway killed like 49 people, I think. Something
like that. But I mean, and no, we're not glorifying what they did. No, we're not doing that.
No.
It's horrific what they did. And I don't know about you, but I take that type of thought and scare into my writing and try to bring that out with my stories. Because yes, they're not real. I could never make something as horrific as what real people have done to real people. I don't think that I'm capable of doing that in a fiction sense. I don't know.
What just popped in my head? Heath Ledger. Just talking about this, like, I don't know why, but like when we were talking about people doing what they were doing, remember Heath Ledger got so caught up in playing the Joker in The Dark Knight that he literally thought he was the Joker and died on an OD, I believe.
No, he was really amazing as the Joker.
He was a great actor, but the thing is, he got into character so much that he thought he was the character.
Yeah, it was not a good thing.
Like, I know, and I think he just kind of got into what it was, and the Joker is supposed to be a serial killer with no remorse.
Well, he's a clown prince of crime.
There's theories that wasn't just the only thing that caused his OD.
Yeah,
there are talks that he was ashamed of the part that he played in Brokeback Mountain, and just like his overall fame was just crushing him because he never wanted to be famous. He loved to act, but he never wanted to be famous. And like all of those things combined just caused him to just like self-medicate with alcohol and sleeping pills. They're pretty sure his overdose was completely accidental. It wasn't him trying to kill himself. It was just him trying to get to sleep.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories around his death, and
And like how you were saying, some people don't want to be famous. There's a video of the paparazzi waiting outside Kanye West's house at 4 a.m. I think he just got like done drinking with friends or something like that. And he says, "How would you like it if I stood outside your house at 4 a.m. and took pictures of you?" And they said, "I wouldn't like it." And then he said, "So why are you doing it to me?" And
Yeah.
they just said, "Oh, because you're Kanye West."
Yeah. Yeah.
And they just
And-
continue to take pictures.
And I've heard the argument that, well, they're a public figure, so they don't have any privacy. No, that's not it. No. It's the same thing with the royals. I mean, they do the same thing, probably more to a worse extent than they do to Hollywood stardoms, and so forth. But we're just as bad with, anybody who's in the public eye. They do the same type of thing to, and it's,
There's a rapper who I listen to who was talking about like how he might kill himself because like the fame is just crushing him, and he said in the rap he's like he was talking about when he did like a interview with someone, and he's like, hey, when the magazine comes out, can you send a copy to my house because I'd like to own a little piece of myself like everyone else. And you just you're like, ow, that tells you how he really feels about being famous, man. That's
Like, it sounds good, like the money, the fame, the love, but those three, it sounds good in hindsight, but now you're not going to have any more personal time. Mm-hmm. You're going to be demanded to do stuff over and over because, you're going to have an agent, you're going to have records that you need to constantly do. It sounds good, but it's a lot of work. You'll have to do it. That's your life. You can't. It's like you can barely live a normal life.
Okay, I'm reaching here. You guys might not even know who I'm talking about. For those who do know who Piers Anthony is,
that is the author, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, he is an author.
Yeah, he wrote On a Pale Horse and The Source of Magic.
Incarnations of Immortality, as among other stories.
He's still alive.
Yes, he is still alive. And somebody in the afterword or author's notes in one of the books, and I can't remember which one it was. I think it was in as a Green Mother. He made a comment that somebody had come by his house. Now he has a wild yard. That's what they call it. Basically, you let the yard go wild. You don't cut it. You don't, he lives in a rural area, and it's his choice that he has animals that feed off the yard, so he doesn't cut it like with a lawnmower. He lets the animals feed on it. So he has a wild yard, and somebody, a fan or something, had found out where he lived and come by and sent him messages saying, you really need to take care of your yard. You really need to take care of your house. You got all this money and you don't do anything with it because you live in a shithole.
Hey, I might live in a shithole, but it's my shithole, okay?
And he was upset by this. He's like, this is why I don't want people knowing where I live. This is why I don't want you to come visit me. This is why I don't, publish where I live. I have a wild yard. This is my choice to do this. It's not your choice to tell me what to do with my property.
It's my life. No Bon Jovi intended.
Thank you, Jelly Bean.
What's funny is like, to go back to musicians. Almost every single musician I listen to, I don't know what they look like. So freaking literally 3 doors down could walk in front of me, and I'd be like, hey, what's up? And I would have no idea who they are.
I would know who they are because I met them through my husband, who was doing security for them at the time.
Yeah. I've seen them, and if I was paying close enough attention, I would be able to tell you who they are because I know I have a CD cover with them on it. But the point is, like, I even if I didn't know who they were, I'm not gonna just like get in their face because, like, I've been in restaurants where in Hershey, like after a concert or after like a wrestling event when I used to go with my dad, and wrestlers or the artists would just come into the restaurant to want to eat, and they get swarmed by people. And I'm like, how fucking disrespectful can you be? They just performed. They're hungry. They want to eat. And all you're gonna do is bother them.
Jeez.
Yep. And
Matt.
and you know, it's you and you can answer me on this one, Chase. As a writer, you take from the experiences that you live through and the things that you're involved in around you. And those feed into your stories in one way or another, whether it's directly or indirectly. But to have people disrespect you in such a way, it's, you know, we were talking about respect in the graveyard. Can you imagine? I yeah.
Yeah, you know, just person spitting on a grave for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Just disrespecting that, like, leave the dead to rest and all that. And you said what's called a story represent. Well, in one of my stories, the person makes a deal with the devil. I hope I haven't made a deal with the devil.
No, but you've seen people who have seemed to have gotten something for nothing, you know.
Yeah.
And whether they made a deal with the devil or not, because I've got a story out there for that too. They seem to have gotten something that nobody else got, and it doesn't seem to be where it came from. It's not obvious where it came from or how they got it. Why are good people always poor and bad people always rich? It's not true.
It's almost like the myth, why do nice guys finish last?
Yeah. And it's a myth. And what I said is not true. There are great rich people and there are bad poor people. It's just, you know, it's a stereotype.
And then, you know, the big question, oh, you've got $15 billion. Why not give $1 million of it to, you know, this charity, or $10 million of it to this charity?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's weird, honestly, the way we kind of look at some people and the way we don't look at some people.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion.
I think there's a lot of charities I don't trust them because I feel like people running them pocket more money than they freaking actually give them to the charity.
One of the things that we had to do when I was working in my former occupation is we had a charity drive every year. And one of the things they did was they would rate, you had to get in the list first. And the list rated how much money you actually gave to the charitable work versus how much you took in and what went to administrative costs and so forth. You could lose your place in that list by having too much administrative costs, or by having a too high of the percentage of money not going to taking care of the charity.
That's why if I was like a millionaire or some shit, I wouldn't donate to, let's say, a woman's woman's shelter. I would go out and I would find out how to directly donate to the people that need it, and or build another shelter out of pocket, like, you know, hiring the crews and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That way I knew every last cent that I was donating into that charity was going to what it needed to go for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't want to give it to somebody. You want to do it yourself.
Exactly. I don't want to give it to someone because I can't trust that person would do what it needs to be done. I'll give the money. I'm just going to make sure it's all accounted for and goes where it needs to go.
Well, it's
By the sounds of it, by the sounds of it, you don't trust anybody but yourself.
yeah.
I trust a few people. I just don't trust people who own businesses like that because how do you think they make their living?
I better be one of those people, damn it.
Oh my gosh, Ray, you're so bad.
What they say.
I wouldn't donate to a woman's shelter, PA Nightmail 2021.
Exactly.
But, you know, I because most people who are billionaires do not have Uncle Scrooge money bins. Kat, thank you, Kat. Break my mind here.
Oh goodness, that is.
But the thing is, we had local charities like women's shelters that did
Dustin,
things like that.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but Dustin, you didn't make that your status. Take your nap and say I wouldn't donate to a women's shelter.
But and you say, well, how do they make their money? Well, a lot of the people that were running the women's shelters that I gave to, that was not where they made their money. They made their money doing other things, like some of them were lawyers, some of them were doctors, and they were donating their time to run the shelter so that others that they had been in that situation, so that they could help others who had been in that situation to get out of it. You know, some of them were just moms who wanted to help out other mothers who had been in the same situation. And a lot of it is people who were in the same situation. Amazon has their Amazon Smiles program. Which I'll agree, it doesn't give a lot to the charity from your purchase. I have the bat shelter. Bat Sanctuary as my Amazon Smiles, because I've watched their work over the years and I've really enjoyed seeing how they care for the bats and they take care of them and they make sure they have what they need. They don't keep them as pets. They release them as soon as they're healed. But they do rescue bats, and they do take care of them while they're needing help. Yeah, the out of context quotes, Ray is right on those, I tell you. You got to watch what you say, Chase, around Ray. He'll quote you. And
did he quote me?
Not yet, but he does do that. He takes them right out of context, and they make... If you didn't hear what they were being said in, you would be completely out of it.
Now Ray's reminding me of
one of those reporters that makes a outrageous statement that has nothing to do with the title of what they said.
Yeah.
And when you were talking about the charities, that I hate to what's called. Again, that also kind of reminds me of one of my upcoming horror stories, that Dream Room one, because you're trying to make a project and it involves dreams. As I said, the temporary title right now is just Dream Room, but it's actually a funded project
from a person that used a GoFundMe page.
Yeah.
And he picked 3 students to take place in the experiment. All because of a GoFundMe page.
Yeah.
Oh, let's just say the room is more than just a dream room.
And you've heard of people abusing GoFundMes and the like. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And
Well, don't get the hiccups on us.
I'm trying not to. But yeah, they oh wow, they just. And that's where you take those stories from. See, you're feeding from real life. Even though it's not obvious and it's not direct, you are.
Indeedly true. Sometimes we don't even realize that.
Yeah. And for those of you who are looking at those of you who are looking at Chase's picture, the reason he has the facial hair is to make him actually look his age.
How old are you trying to make me sound?
You're not that old. That's the point.
All right. How old do you think I am?
You're in your 20s.
25.
Oh.
23.
He's younger than Tim. You know.
Yeah, I actually,
If
I
you
actually
shave, you look
did,
like you're 12.
yeah, I actually just did the Movember challenge, or No Shave November,
Yeah.
whatever, yeah, you called it. I shaved on October 31st, and on November 1st, I took a photo of me, just cleanly shaved. Oh my gosh, I look like I'm like 15. I look like I'm in high school again.
Uh-huh.
If I walked in with the backpack, no facial hair, the only thing that would make people question my age is my height, because I'm actually 6'4".
I know people that were that tall at that age.
Oh, I wasn't 6'4" at 15. I was like maybe 6'2" at 15. The one thing about the male side of my family, we grow quickly. I stopped growing when I was maybe 16 and a half, 17.
I had a friend that went off for the summer to visit his sister in the Midwest and came back, and when he left, he was shorter than I was, and I was 5'5" at the time. When he came back, he was over 6 foot, and he had to get all new clothing because
What was
Nothing
the height before he left?
he was like 5'4", 5'4" and a half, something like that,
Shit, he grew more than half. He grew more than half a foot.
in 3 months. And he didn't get any taller either. It's like he shot up, and that was it.
Oh my God.
And it happened like he was 12 or 13. He just hit that. Phew. One of the best bass voices I've ever had the pleasure of performing with. And he could lead dancing too. No, we were never romantically involved. We were just friends.
Now, dancing I can never do.
Oh,
If you ask me to dance, I can't dance. Don't even ask me, because I cannot dance for my life. There's one video I've got on me on Facebook of me dancing, and the only reason why I'm dancing is because it's at prom, and I didn't even know that I was being recorded. Like, literally, he goes, go Chase, and I look at the video, I'm like, oh my gosh. And then my friend Brian and I, we start dancing.
Oh my goodness. And Ray just got me.
What did you say?
He shot up, and that was it. Me and Mina, 2021.
At least he didn't make you look like you hate women.
And please,
I feel like I've done a pretty good job of avoiding Ray's wrath. Like, he's inspecting me. He's like, I'm trying to find a certain quote to make him look so bad, but I just can't find it.
oh, Jellybean, thank you for that picture in my head. Oh my goodness.
So what you're saying is he's giggling like a schoolgirl, Jelly.
Like that.
Oh my goodness. That's so funny. Okay, I've got a question for you, Chase.
I was gonna say Jay.
Che. You're not Che. We're forgetting the H of your name. You're Che.
Right. If we really want to go by nicknames, call me Ace or Jay.
We're gonna call you Cha Cha Cha.
Oh, now he's got you. I just can't find it. Chase, 2021.
Okay. Okay, that you can't do that. Wait, when did I say?
He
When did I
just did
say
you
that?
dirty, boy.
You just said it a minute ago.
What did I say? Wait.
You were
Wait,
saying
what?
that he was looking for a quote for you, and he said he just.
Okay, that I
He got you, boy.
Come on, Ray, that's stupid.
He just gave you the small pee-pee syndrome.
I told you, that's Ray.
Okay, so on to the question though.
Okay, the question is, have you ever done the National Novel Writing Month?
National Novel Writing Month. I actually don't even think I've heard of that before. I hate to say that.
It's Namino. Yeah.
I have never heard of that.
Yeah, it's going on right now. It goes on every November. They have other events during the year, but every November is National Writing Month. And every year they challenge writers to write a 50,000 word story.
54.
It's not a lot of words. If you write 1,500 words a day, every day in the month of November, you will hit it. Timothy Duran, our dear friend, has already reached his 50,000.
Oh my gosh! Oh man, great job, Timothy.
Yeah, and he says the story's not done yet, so I'm still writing. But I saw him post that, and I was, wow. I've done it 1 year, and I didn't finish the story. I've still got the story to finish.
So what are we? I think it's believed the 13th. So
yeah,
and if he keeps on this pace, he's going to hit over 100K. And if I'm not mistaken, he's already published one or two, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
He's already published a couple books as it is.
Yeah. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Any unit of measurement is acceptable. That's a question for you, Chase.
What? Wait, what? Sorry.
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Any unit of measure is acceptable.
Pretty sure that they can do 700 pounds.
Dexter says 42 cords.
I think a woodchuck can do 700 pounds. Even though I know what's called hearing that. I only know that because I've been asked that question before. And if I'm not mistaken, what's it called? Cornell did a stupid research project, probably because of that tongue twister, and I think the answer was 700 pounds. If someone could Google that or look that up, that'd be fantastic, because I think it's 700, but I just want to confirm with myself.
And Ray says 2 cans of beans. Oh my goodness.
If I purposely give Ray a quote, I feel like he won't do it.
He likes catching words out of context. That's just, that's just his thing. That's his thing.
That's his talent.
He loves you. That's how he shows he loves you.
I know we all have that unique talent that we don't know that we somehow are good at doing it.
And it has been confirmed, 700 pounds.
Really? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was gonna say. I think I've seen it before. So
Dexter confirmed it.
Woohoo!
Dexter went to his lab and confirmed it.
There you go.
I think you got the wrong Dexter. Get out of my laboratory!
So if he's really in his lab or something like that, I want to know: did we invent math, or did we discover it?
I think we discovered it.
Or where does the thought go when it's forgotten? Because sometimes it does come back.
Well, that when Einstein died, the project he was working on was what is beyond the black of night.
Exactly.
And he died, and it's still on the chalkboard, supposedly.
Dang it. Alright, Dexter, I've got one that you must do.
Uh-oh.
I need you to do this one question. Do our human accomplishments have a long-term universal significance, or when the world ends, do we all end with it, including what we've achieved?
I think Raven wrote a story about that. Oh, golly.
Oh.
Okay, a Jelly Beans question, and yeah, we do this question for Jelly Bean. Chase.
Yes.
If you are home alone at night, note you're home alone, and you heard a fart, would you laugh or be scared?
Where's the fart coming from?
That is not an answer.
All right.
Comes
If
from
I was home
nowhere.
alone, okay. If I'm okay,
It's
is it
not
dark or night?
you. It's not you. It's not. You're
Okay.
home alone at night, and you hear.
Okay, home alone at night. Okay. Then I would probably be a little. I feel like I do this. You're trying to. I'm like, you just gave your way. You just gave yourself away, serial killer. Come on, I know you're here. Let's get this over with.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Here's one.
Just trying to sleep and you're like, what the hell? Oh, I see the dark figure over there. Okay, serial killer. I know you're here. You know. I'm gonna try and call the cops. You've got the entrance blocked. Come at me, bro. We've got to get this done. You and me, one-on-one, right now.
Oh, Ray, Dexter, I've got one which you must do. Chase 2021.
Dexter, like a Prius,
Oh,
cross between
goodness.
serial killer and a scientist.
I still, wow. I'm not gonna go there. Yes,
Oh.
Jelly Bean asks everybody that question. that is her question. That's like
In my rebuttal now, I'm curious. What would she do?
she told us that last week.
She'd laugh.
She'd laugh.
I would laugh and be scared. Because, you think you're alone. Boop! I fart. But then you're like, oh my gosh. Well, now I know you're here.
According to Ray, she laughs at farts anyway. So yeah, Ray and Jelly Bean are married. Just
She
I
She
kind
finds
of
flatulence to be
when I heard that when I heard he giggles like a girl, I kind of that.
Yeah. So she finds flatulence to be hilarious.
SCP-1281, great SCP about the end of a species and speaking out against the darkness. Okay.
Yeah, what now?
SCP-1281, great SCP about the end of a species and speaking out against the darkness. I gotta.
Well,
Isn't that the Harbinger? Isn't that the Harbinger?
I don't remember. I have to go look at the list. And
I think SCP-1281 is the Harbinger from Mythos.
Ray says he does not giggle like a girl. He giggles with a masculine roar which shatters mountains.
Is that why my eardrums were blown out last week?
Yeah, it might be.
But a translation, Ray giggles like a bitch.
Foundations.
Yeah,
It rocks the foundations
let's
of our
all
fragile
laugh at
reality.
Ray.
And he
Let's all point and laugh at Ray that he laughs like a bitch. There we go. Ha 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 ha! Ray laughs like a bitch. Ha 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 ha!
and Dexter confirms it is the Harbinger. So you had it right. I have to write. I've actually been spending a lot of time on the SCP site
From where I'm sitting, mate.
because I'm going to write my own SCP.
Oh, it's like that, Ray. It's like that.
Oh my goodness.
Or are you gonna write like a fan fiction type of thing?
Well, it's going to have to be because of what I'm basing the SCP on, because it's a copyrighted, trademarked thing.
Yeah, there's actually what's it called a couple of I don't know. I also have written fan stories a little bit. I've written like a 30,000 word GTA fan fiction story, Grand Theft Auto fan fiction story. Never got done it, but I wrote it up a little bit, and I wrote up what's called a Mass Effect fan story. And actually I have written a story about 3 weeks ago, and it's only about a page long. If you guys really want me to read it,
Ooh.
it's only about a page long.
Okay, so Mermaid Devil asks how long a person can go without food, but just water. Actually, you can go a lot longer with just water than without water.
3 weeks.
It's something like 3 weeks. If you don't have
3 weeks,
water,
3 days, 3 minutes.
after 7 days, you're going to be dead. If you don't have liquid water, you're going to be dead. That's just... There's only one type of water that is liquid. Actually, water has 3 states: solid, liquid, and gas. But
So you can survive 8 to 21 days without food.
as long as you have water, which is 3 weeks.
Yep.
You would get hungry. But water has a property that I don't think a lot of people know about. Water can trick your stomach into thinking that you're full.
Also, chocolate milk can do that too.
The reason that I know this about water, in the hospital, babies that are in the nursery, that are bottle fed in the nursery, are given water at night when they start crying because they're hungry.
They get served water at night.
Yeah, and it's because they're making them think that they're filled, so that they don't have to go wake up the mothers to get them fed. When I heard about that, I was like, so we're lying to these babies from day one. It doesn't make me feel very good. That's one of the reasons why my kids were in my room.
Womp womp. The question is, how many lies have we been told since we were born?
How do we know? I mean, I wrote a story about lies. Actually lying to the most important person, or who should have been the most important person in your life. And actually, PA's heard that story.
Yeah.
But yeah, water even becomes plasma at so what story have you got for us? Because I heard the story.
Oh shoot! All right, hold on a second. I gotta find it real quick.
Father
I gotta
Christmas.
find my ranger. I'll be a quick 2 minutes.
Okay. Father Christmas, the Tooth Fairy, the Leprechauns, the Easter Bunny, the yeah, but you know, my mom explained Father Christmas or Santa Claus as the spirit of giving, not necessarily an actual physical human being. It's a spirit of giving. And if you believe in the spirit of giving and the proper way of giving, not I'm giving because it's going to get me blah, blah, blah. The proper spirit of giving. You believe in Santa Claus. You believe in Father Christmas. Hooray.
And I love when, you know, it's not you who breaks the secret, it's the kids in school. It goes, Santa isn't real.
Yeah.
And then you ask mom and dad about it, and they're like, oh, shit.
Well, I was like 13, and we were picking my aunt up at the airport. She was a airline stewardess, and we were picking her up at the airport, and she was late, and we had gone into the restroom, and it was just her and me in the restroom, and I asked her then. My sister wasn't with us. And that's how she explained it to me, and I said, okay, well, I believe in the spirit of Christmas, so I guess I believe that Santa Claus is real. Because I believe in the spirit of Christmas. I believe in the spirit of giving. So, hold on a second. I've got to go find it real quick. Chase 2021.
Didn't you already write that?
Yes.
I feel like he did something very similar to that. Also, I found this is one of my first stories, so it may sound shitty.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it.
Do you guys want me to read it? All right. According to the date when I wrote this on the paper, it was July 8th, 2012. I wrote this when I was I just turned 14. Oh,
wow.
Gosh. All right.
Grammar's going to be great on this.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Sorry if I stutter. I'm not the narrator. All right. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
All right. I don't remember a lot of my childhood, I thought. I didn't realize this until a group of friends and I were swapping stories of the dumb stuff we did as kids. We passed around stories about putting firecrackers in mailboxes, sneaking into their neighbors' backyards. But as I opened my mouth to share a similar story, I realized that I had nothing to share. I knew I had a childhood, obviously, and I could remember vaguely my childhood friends and such. But I had absolutely no stories to share at all. I knew I'd play tag, hide and seek, and done things with all the other kids. Remember a specific time. I knew I'd had sleepovers, but no image could be conjured in my brain. I knew I had a best friend. I even knew his name. But I couldn't think of what his face looked like. I played it off then, but afterwards I went to speak with my parents about this, hoping that perhaps they could jog my memory. They didn't have any specific stories either, but they did bring up something that jogged my memory. The house on Campbell Road. The other kids in the neighborhood and I were obsessed with it. They said that every day after school, I go over to their kids to knock on the door 3 times. It seems sort of morbid to them, but completely harmless. The house was long since abandoned, and as long as we didn't go inside the house, they didn't seem to care what we did. I asked about my friends, about the boy named Wayne Carter, who I remembered to be my best friend. They said they remembered me talking about him, but they never got a chance to meet him or the other kids I talked about. Wayne never came over and never called, and eventually I just stopped talking about him. They honestly assumed him to be imaginary. I apparently didn't have many friends, so they played along. The mention of the house in Wayne sparked at least a vague memory in me. I could picture the house, but not Wayne. I went there hoping to find whatever forgotten memory I could. The house was still vacant and abandoned like it had been in the past. The lawn was a field of dry yellow weeds, and the gate that surrounded it was comprised of cracked wooden stakes leaning against one another. I took a step into the yard, and felt the sensation of deja vu so strongly that I was dizzy for a moment. I took another step, then another, and could almost hear Wayne's voice in the wind. Mechanically, I walked up the porch steps, careful to not let the wood splint beneath my feet. I reached the door and knocked on it, just as I did when I was young. 3 knocks, just as I'd done, mirroring even the location of my knuckles on the wood. I stood there, my palms sweaty and my face pale, wondering if I should just try to open the door. I reached for the knob, but before my hand touched it, it began to turn and the door creaked open. A shape on the other side stood before me in the darkness. "Hello?" it said in a voice that was chillingly familiar, because it was my voice. The figure stepped forward, and before me stood a thin, haggard man about my age. "It's been a long time," he said. "Can we switch back now? I want to go home." I shook my head, not understanding what he meant. "Come on, Wayne," the man said, his voice sounding childish now. "You said it was only going to be for a little bit. You never said it was going to take this long. I want to go home to my mom and dad." And then I remembered! The little boy walking alone in front of my house, knocking on the door, pretending that someone had dared him to do it. And me answering the door, offering him a deal to trade places. Nobody would know as long as he stayed in the house, and there were so many fun things in the house. He would never want to leave. Not that he could anyway. A smile and a handshake, and then I went home to his mother and father while he took my place in hell. How could I have forgotten all that? That is one of the few that I wrote when I was a kid.
Gotta turn my mic back on so you can actually hear me. I remember there's a movie called Daniel Isn't Real. And I think you have another story that I've heard. Was it you that wrote the story about the the friend that was very similar to this. The friend that was there, but only one other person had ever seen them.
Are you talking about Shadow?
Might be.
The one with the imaginary friend?
Yeah.
I actually never got around to finishing that. That was, I would need to go on my Google Docs and look at. There was it was about an imaginary friend that his name was Shadow, and there was this kid, maybe 10 or 11 years old. He was like 10 or 11 years old, and Shadow was an imaginary friend that he could talk to and all that stuff. And he would say, "Hey, Mom, Shadow did this, Shadow did that." And they thought he was just going through the phase of having an imaginary friend. But as he grew up, he started to forget about Shadow. And Shadow did not take this lightly and started making his life hell. Then eventually, he has a dream where Shadow talks to him and says, "When you make an imaginary friend, you're actually creating a real person. And when you forget about us, we die. And if you forget about me, you're going to die, and we will take you to the place where all imaginary friends die." I can't remember what it was called.
Boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
I think you and I discussed that story, and that's what that
I remember that
made
story.
made me think of. Wow. And this is
Nostalgia.
yeah, it's like people when we get together, we talk. It's,
I'm trying to find it now.
it's like last week we had Ray and Jillian on here, and yeah, it's just things happen when we talk, right?
The Forgotten Shadows. That's what it was called, right here.
Cool.
Forgotten Shadows. Yeah, it's not too long. It's only 4 pages long, and last time I even wrote it was January 5th, 2020. That actually just shows you how long we've actually known each other, and 2 to 3 years probably.
Yeah. Yeah, Kat, we need to get on PA to get you on here, just saying. Kat is another author. Laura Applewood is another author.
Whoa.
We love having authors on here. We love having YouTubers on here. We love having both in one person. But it's just talking, like we told you. I can tell that you're not as nervous as you were when we started.
Yeah, I was. Before this, I've really never been on a podcast before, and public speaking is not one of my best talents, but I'm feeling a lot more comfortable now, and as you can probably tell, I'm going along with the flow.
Right.
Just kind of vibe along and all that.
And my PC is a potato. Oh my goodness.
Ray, you don't quote that. I gave you that on purpose. I'm just vibing and going along with the flow. He doesn't quote that? Really? Out of everything I say, he quotes the "I can't find it," but going with the flow, he doesn't quote that.
Give him a minute.
Come on, that is
Give
gold.
him a minute.
Come on.
Give him a minute.
I gave him that one.
Did you? Did you give him that one?
Oh.
Dude.
See, that's why they call me the giggler. No.
Giggler Sliggler. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a word that I could think of, like with giggles or something like that.
It wasn't juvenile enough. Go
Oh,
with the
come
flow. Oh,
on.
come on. It's right out of Carrie. I mean,
Well, I guess there was a serial killer called the Giggling Nanny. I know that.
I gave him that one. Chase, 2021.
Ha 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 ha. Thanks, Ray.
No, that one was me, bud.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm not looking at the chat.
You should be sorry, damn it.
Well, fuck you too there, Dustin.
Okay.
He fucking you long time.
So PA, you have a question?
Oh yeah. Well, I gave it to you as the example kind of fun questions. But Chase, we find ourselves in a new hellscape where alligators and crocodiles cannot fly. How do you think humanity as a whole would fare?
Horrible, because the first thing that comes to my mind is the horrible movie Sharknado.
Well, no, see, this isn't like that. This is literally a genetic mutation where crocodiles and alligators mutated and are able to fly.
I guess we could think of alligators and crocodiles as superheroes now.
Well, I asked that of my brother.
Quickly, am I allowed to have them as pets? Justin, can I own one as a pet?
If you can capture one and tame it, then absolutely.
Oh my god, I would so do the scene from the Never-Ending Story where he's riding like the fucking, I can't remember what its name was, but he rides the he writes that. I would so fucking make it like the Never-Ending Story. I would just feel myself going, the Never-Ending Alligator Flight. I would name it that. And it would be my own little travel, alligator.
If flying spiders came out and orbited the Earth, it's all over.
Orbiting the Earth and goes on.
Yeah, Falcor. I asked that question of my brother and sister last night.
Oh, flying spiders. First thing that came into my mind, 8-legged freaks. Anybody remember that one?
Yeah.
You want to see a better spider movie? And this one actually has William Shatner in it.
Oh, goodness.
Kingdom of Spiders.
So, there was a movie that I watched at work yesterday.
Chase.
What did he say?
Ray Beeman. I feel myself never ending, Chase 2021.
Yes! I was trying to just give him one, honestly. Do that one too. I was trying to give him one.
Okay. Flying spiders.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, the Kingdom of Spiders, if you are arachnophobic, I would not recommend it because the spiders win. Spoilers.
Oh, thanks.
So,
the movie came out in the early 70s.
I've never even heard of it.
So I watched a movie called Red Notice on Netflix yesterday while I was at work. It has Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Ryan Reynolds in it. You don't need any other reason to watch it.
Wow.
It has Ryan Reynolds in it.
Wow. Clownado?
Clownado. Oh my god.
Oh,
That would be that'd be the most horrifying tornado in the world for a lot of people with clown phobias.
I was trying to give him one. Chase 2021.
Yeah. There we go. I think they still made another Sharknado, honestly.
They've got 4 of them.
I thought there were 6.
I know of 4.
Okay, there's one of them, and that is one too many.
Okay, I'm gonna look up on Google the Sharknado. Hold on a second.
Look it up on IMDb.
The fact that there's one of them is one too many.
Oh, there's 7.
There's 7?
Okay, it goes Sharknado, the second one, Sharknado Feeding Frenzy, Sharknado 3, oh hell no, Sharknado 4, The Fourth Awakens. I feel like that's some type of fucking joke. Sharknado 5, Global Swarming, and then Sharknado, the last Sharknado, It's About Time.
Yeah,
I feel like the directors knew how bad it was, and they were just kind of screwing with everybody.
And
like
they're memeing on their own movie. It's about time.
The third one is the one that was in New York. It's like, Jason Kills New York. Well, that was the 4th one.
Jason Takes New York.
That was the 4th Sharknado movie, or the 3rd Sharknado movie.
Ah.
And it's not Jason Takes
Manhattan.
It's not Jason Takes New York. The Friday the 13th movie is Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah, but
Jason Takes Manhattan.
Anyway.
That one, that's... I love the boxing scene in that one.
Yeah.
And Jason Takes Manhattan when he goes up against the boxer.
Mm-hmm. But Can you guys believe we've been at this for an hour and 44 minutes? Time flies when you're having fun.
Indeed.
Indeed. Sharknado
Time
lost in
flies
New
when
York.
Time flies when you're tormenting Chase.
It's been a long time since we've gotten to talk to Chase, and I really enjoyed it.
If Ray doesn't take time flies when you're tormenting Chase and turn that into a fucking out of context statement, then I'm gonna be disappointed.
Yeah, I haven't been on Discord nor social media too much.
Yeah, you kind of been hiding out like I have.
Yeah,
Oh, shit. I said that with Ray in the room.
If somebody goes to what's called my Facebook, you'll see that I haven't posted on Facebook in like 4 months.
I don't get on Facebook other than to
Facebook?
occasionally message you.
You see?
Aw, thanks, Dustin. Aw.
Oh my God,
If you
Ray.
If you've got a partner, what's called, you better hope she's not listening, Dustin. She'll get jealous for messaging me.
Hey Ray, you can do more than one, you little bitch.
I love how we were all just like getting mad at him for doing it. Now we're just prompting him to do it.
Oh no, I've never gotten mad at him for doing it because it's
I
hilarious.
just do Ray shit. That's all I do.
No. At first we're like, "Oh, Ray," then do it.
I've got
Come
two
on,
pets.
Kobe, come on! I'm here, Kobe, come on!
I've got two pets. One's a sharktopus, and then one is a piranhaconda. I actually saw a movie called Piranha something. I think it was Piranhaconda.
No, just Piranha. It's just called Piranha.
No,
Piranha 3D.
there was another one that it was Piranha something. But there's in Missouri there is a lake that has been infested with piranhas. They're actually eating the native fish while they're mating with them and becoming more. But this lake, they found out. I didn't know this. Okay, this is things I found out on the internet or news media. 55 degrees and below, piranha die.
Oh, so when it comes to winter, we're safe.
Well, somewhat. There's one place in the lake that these piranha are in Missouri where it stays 55. It stays more than 55 degrees during the winter. There's one place, and you can imagine all the piranha are going there to live through the winter, right? So why don't they just freeze that area and take care of it? Because
I live in Canada, so I'm just safe.
Yeah. Well, this is because some stupid person had a pet piranha and put it in the lake because they got tired of it.
You said they were mating with the fish and then eating them to become something more. I'm like, yes, I mate with you, then I devour you and become all powerful.
Yeah, I am.
Fish man.
I am following the example given to me by the praying mantis and the black widow spider.
You want another bad movie? Look up Giant Shark versus Mega Octopus.
What was the name of the shark that had like 10 heads?
I don't know, but that shark must have given some good head.
Yeah, shit. I bet it was 10 heads.
I don't know if it was 10 head, but it had multiple heads. I can't remember the name of it. It was on my. It came up on my Amazon Prime the other day, and I was like, "What? I'm not watching that."
Were you talking about the Sawtail?
No, no. It was like, I guess it was like 3-headed shark or something like that. Right now, I'm trying to gene splice this alligator spider scorpion hybrid. What?
Okay. So now I'm curious, real quick. Okay, if it's got multiple heads, let's say one head stayed out of the water and died from lack of oxygen from being underwater. One head's out of the water, but the two are down. Would the entire shark die, or would that head just die?
It depends if each shark has their own their own brain and think independently of one another. That the head would just die.
It's almost like those people that somehow they have they have
Siamese
like a twin
twins.
brother.
Siamese twins.
Yeah.
The conjoined.
And they've got two heads. If one suffocates, if one head suffocates, does the other one die?
Well, it depends on how their systems are joined. Kang and Aang, the original Siamese twins. That's why they got the name Siamese twins, because they were actually Siamese and they were conjoined twins. They were independent breathing, and their hearts were independent of each other. And I can't remember which one died first. But the other one was terrified of being connected to his brother when his brother died. Ironically, when his brother died, he was connected to his brother, and he died shortly thereafter. Some say of fear, but yeah, it's.
The cause of death is unknown to this day.
Yeah, that's every time somebody dies of fear, they say that. You know?
It's almost like Carrie Fisher's mom.
Yeah.
Her daughter dies, and then
Debbie Reynolds.
Like it's like a week later, or a couple of days to a week later, she dies. It's just weird how sometimes that happens.
Yeah, it is. Well, when my grandfather died, we were very sure that my grandmother was the way she was after he died. We were sure she wouldn't last the year. Now, she pulled herself out of that and did not die until several years later. But you see that in history. If you look at people who have been married for a long time together, a lot of times when one dies, the other one will die shortly thereafter, because their lives are so entwined and they love that person so much that they can't imagine living without them.
Almost like a Romeo and Juliet story, except the gun part.
There was no gun in Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, the pill. Yeah.
There was the knife, and then there was
the poison.
Poison. Yeah, except for the poison. Yeah. What? Was I thinking of the one with DiCaprio?
You were probably thinking of that one. I've never seen that one.
Romeo. Yeah, he takes the poison. Yeah. Juliet's knocked out. He sees her. He thinks she's dead. Then he takes the poison. Right. That's how it goes.
Yes. And then she wakes up, and she makes the comment, and left no sweet drop to help me to follow, and she drags the dagger into her chest. It's a beautiful, beautiful scene. If you're ever into watching Shakespeare, I would, yeah. Yes, it is not. It is not actually an old wives' tale, Dexter. It does happen. People who've been married 50, 60 years, when one dies, it often the other one will die. Now, my parents married in 1965, and my father is still alive. My mother died in 2017.
I mean, it makes sense, especially if you're like say you're in your 80s or 90s, and you lose your lifelong partner. Like you just stop eating, you stop taking care of yourself, and your health just severely declines quickly.
I'm looking it up. It's in the movie. Juliet shoots herself with DiCaprio. Yeah, it's from the movie.
It's the same thing with dogs, and whenever their owners die, like if you raise a dog from like it being a puppy, and it becomes completely attached to you, it will. Like there's been cases where dogs just don't eat. They just literally starve themselves to death because they lost the one person that they love the most, and they're just like, I'm done.
Well, Lord, what's his name from King Tut's tomb? died in Egypt, and his dog in England died the same night, supposedly.
And didn't King Tut live to be like 16, 17?
19.
19, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if somebody went back in time and like had all the knowledge we had, and we said we were a god, if they'd believe us or not.
Probably. Either that or we'd be witched.
Like I'm not saying like, oh, I know this time is going to happen, but like, they probably didn't know CPR or. Oh, there was also the legend where the Nile River would. That's actually when the Egyptians invented the calendar. They always had this, this big flood that would,
Yep.
flood all the grains and all the food and all that stuff off the farmland. And they thought the gods were mad at them, so they would create this flood. But it was just the Nile River overflowing.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, they built a wall and discovered that it happened at the same time of this same year, this same day, the same month. And that's actually how they invented calendars. So they were prepared for when the next flooding would happen from the Nile River, and they built those walls and. Yeah.
Yes, Kat. Doctors call it the will to live, and when people lose their will to live for whatever reason, they did a study of orphans in an orphanage, and where they found that the children that turned, and I'm not going into all the details about the study. Okay, I think it was cruel, but. They found the children that turned their faces to the wall and just gave up their will to live, died. And that's all I'm talking about, that study. Because, like I said, I think it was a cruel study.
Yeah, some studies, some people think some studies need to be done. I'm surprised if the Russian sleep experiment isn't based on a true story.
I wouldn't be surprised. There are actually stories out of Japan after World War II that sound a lot like the Russian sleep experiment.
And there's also one where they captured some American prisoners when they were trying to take an island near the end of World War II, when the Americans were going up against Japanese, and they were trying to take down this AA gun that would defend them from the bombers. And when they went for an attack, the turret shot down a couple of planes and a couple of people survived, and the Japan boats came and captured the pilots that survived and actually ate them, thinking that it would like increase their humanity and vision and all that stuff. So they literally ate them, and it wasn't and the details weren't released till like it was like earlier late 2000s, and it's just fucking weird. Like, the Japanese capture these prisoners and then just decide to eat them, thinking that it enhances their ability.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would never think that.
Yeah, I agree. Some of the best studies that have given the most interesting results are the cruelest. But that doesn't make them right in my mind.
A lot of our modern medical marvels honestly came from a lot of the experiments they conducted in Nazi Germany.
Yeah, I know. I just that doesn't mean that I agree with how we got that information. There's things that we were doing in our own country during that time that weren't exactly kosher. And I'm talking about way before, some things.
I wonder what the Canadians did. I know, obviously, the Canadians, no country has their hands clean.
There was a case, and I'll have to find it. It's on Info. What's that channel? Info something. That they were talking about in Canada. I don't remember which state.
Province?
Yeah, which province? But they were taking people and basically wiping them completely I'll have to find the story, but it
Their
was
memory?
not their memory, but their humanity.
Maybe that's how we became so obsessed with maple syrup. They liked they liked our humanity, and then they made them worship maple syrup, and after generation, that's why we like maple syrup so much. Hell, it's not a stereotype in my opinion. Unpopular opinion, but I actually like maple syrup on my vanilla ice cream. People think it sounds
Popular
disgusting,
opinion.
but I
That
love
sounds delicious.
Maple syrup is great.
Put pure maple syrup on the vanilla ice cream. It is great.
My dad used to use real maple syrup to make. It sounds silly to say it like this, but to make pancake syrup. He didn't use just pancake syrup. And yes, I love infographics, and that is what I was thinking of. And Chase, you've been quoted again. Obviously, the Canadians. No country has their hands clean. Chase, 2021.
I will definitely consider that in the future.
Wiping them clean like a sponge bath.
Yeah, we'll just we'll get little baby wipes and just start wiping them clean.
But yeah, there's a lot of things that we've had happen in history that we've learned things from, but was the cost worth it?
But at what cost of our humanity?
What was the price was the cost worth the price of admission or not?
That echo keeps putting me in mind of Poltergeist. Echo.
Am I echoing?
I don't know who's echoing. I'm not hearing an echo.
Echo.
I think it's Jelly Bean's echo.
Are her and Ray like here?
Probably.
Yeah, if it's very close, they'll. I was gonna say I heard no echo on my part.
Yeah, it's probably the two of them sitting close together.
Yeah, I was gonna say the feedback from the two devices.
Yeah. So yes, we're going on our second hour. Have you got anything to ask us, Chase?
Mia, we were talking about our horror writing. You asked me what got me into horror, and I just said it was Saw, and I just started watching the movies and all that stuff. But let me go and ask you, what got you into horror?
What got me into horror?
Yeah.
My husband says, not my husband.
Your husband got you into horror?
No.
Getting married is a horror itself, so.
We'll go back. My mom and dad were history nuts, and they also enjoyed a good creepy tale like Dracula, and the black and white Universal monsters were very prevalent in our household. The gory stuff that wasn't really gore, but it was indicated gore. I mean, if you watch Halloween, the original, there's not a lot of gore. There's not a lot of blood and gore in that movie.
The blood and gore really started, in my opinion, is when The Thing came out.
Yeah, it wasn't, and one of the reasons for that is I think it was the producer did not want a lot of blood in the movie, and there was a time when Saturday afternoon, one of the channels where we lived was showing the Hammer horror films, and the William Castle films, and Vincent Price, and all those 1960, 1970 horror. We call them classics today. They're just, they're wonderful movies. They're campy as hell, but they're great movies. They tell a story, and at the time when I was first watching them, they were creepy. And I guess that's, sitting there and being able to be scared in your living room with your mom and your dad watching scary movies.
Isn't it lovely how we always watch scary movies when we were a kid, but we never start them at teenagers?
Well, actually, I saw Freddy Krueger at my girlfriend's 16th birthday party. And
So, that long?
it was all of us sitting there watching. It was a brand new movie. It was a brand new movie at the time. It had just come out on video. And after that, I had dreams of going into the high school with Freddy Krueger taking care of the bullies. Hi for 242. But
I hope you know when Freddy Krueger takes care of somebody, it's not beating them up.
Yes, I know that. I had my own glove as well.
I was going to say, please tell me you know enough about Freddy Krueger to know what he did to his victims.
Yes, I do. I do. But yeah, it's like it's easier to tackle the fears in your life through a monster. Who was the real monster? Was it Frankenstein's creation or Dr. Frankenstein?
Well, Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein went to graveyards and took body parts to make Frankenstein. Who people made a monster. But you gotta remember, Frankenstein never asked to be born.
Yeah, the monster never asked for it. And on top of that, a lot of the things that the monster did was because he was misunderstood. He didn't mean to kill the little girl. She was throwing flowers, pretty flowers, into the water. He thought, well, if that's what you do with pretty things, she's a pretty thing. Throw her in the water.
Yeah.
You ask these questions. I mean, and that's how I got into horror. Yes, not everything I write is horror. I will admit that. Not everything I write was horror. Is horror. But good bit of it has a tendency to lean into something of horror.
All right, Dustin, it's your turn.
What got me into horror?
Yep.
I just started watching horror movies at an early age. Figured out I wasn't afraid of anything, and ever since then I've been on a hunt for something that actually scares me.
It's easy. All you gotta do is look in your reflection, Dustin.
Hey. I'm a sexy beast, okay?
Beast that scares you.
To really need to have Filia here for that question. But yeah, it's Frankenstein was a hard worker. Capitalism let him down. That shit probably would have been better received in Russia. But you see, the thing is, at the time that Frankenstein was written, people were taking bodies out of graveyards and using them for experiments. Doctors were doing that because they were trying to learn about the human body.
They have a funny way of trying to learn about the human body. You notice that?
Yeah, but there's actually a story about two men who got so into doing that they they were brought into jail, and one of them, I think, was actually put to death because they were killing people. They went from taking bodies out of the graveyard to actually killing people to make more money, to give the bodies to scientists to learn more about the human body.
Huh.
And then we've got Ed Gein. But that
And
was
then we got Leatherface.
100 years later. You know?
One of my favorite things that we've done with deceased bodies is the body farm. We had learned how we learned how the body decomposes in different given situations, and which has really helped law enforcement out in solving murders.
Yes.
Like
I had a friend who actually donated his body to a body farm. And they did that episode on Bones where they actually went into a body farm and showed people, what it does and everything, which I really thought was neat. But when you go into a real body farm, it's a whole lot different than what they showed on Bones. It's really, really horrific looking things that you can see there. I wouldn't.
All we gotta do is just do what the Egyptians did.
I wouldn't recommend anybody going to a body farm if they've got a weak constitution or a weak heart.
Or just
It's going to be a good farm.
Or at the sight of, in English, at the sight of dead bodies gives you the creeps or makes you sick.
Yeah. One of my favorite things with deceased bodies is Body Farm, PA Nightmares 2021.
Hey, that one's not as bad as the other one you got me with earlier, Ray.
All right, so as you all know,
at least we got Dustin seeing. At least he has enough honor to see at least the dead woman and say, and not donating.
Yeah.
The monster.
So this is the Traveler's Tavern. We are on the Nevermore Collective, which is a collective of creators who have things that we want to present to our audience, but they don't quite fit our own channels. This actual show is a dream child of PA Nightmares, who is one of the people that if you need to get in touch with for putting something on here, you can get a hold of him. We have this channel thanks to our wonderful As the Raven Dreams. The other people you can get a hold of: Creepy Clown Girl, Midnight Bard, Seraphine, 242, me, Beautiful Nightmare, of course, As the Raven Dreams. I'm forgetting somebody. Who am I forgetting, PA?
Voices.
Silver Threads and Filia.
Yeah. Also, I have two quick shameless plugs.
Okay.
So Monday night, because I just like to shout it out when it's one of his stories. My Monday video is going to be Ray's video, 60 minutes. It's part one of a 3-part series that he's doing. He's given me. And at 9:30, I'm gonna just double check this real quick. I think it's 9 p.m. or is it 9:30? 9:30 p.m. EST. Lycan Trucker or Breaker 19 is having a premiere, and I'm actually it's actually a collab me and him did together. You guys should show Breaker some love.
Yes, please do. 42 says.
I will drop the link in the chat for anybody who may not be subscribed to his channel.
42 says Silver Threads is hard to get a hold of now. Well, so am I actually. Thank you, Stephen. Chase, what can I say, man? It's been great talking to you again. And this is how we do it. I mean, we go around and around on topics all over the place, but people get to know you because you're here. And Chase is a great author, guys. If you check out the videos he's got out there, check out Vidith has got his Portrait, which I think it's in a couple of other
also has videos.
Yeah. Outcast has videos. Check them out.
Maybe one of these days I'll get to read one of Chase's stories.
Same here. And y'all take care of yourselves and have a good week. If we don't see you before then, I'm planning, I know I keep saying this, I'm planning to have a video out this week. At least one. I've got 3 audios ready to go. Yeah. But we will talk to you next week. Next week we have I know who it, yes, we have, I can't say his name. Even my tongue is not working today, PA. I just can't.
Is that like the cleaving heart?
Ray, you gotta
just can't
strike
say
that.
it?
Come on. I feel like my cover photo on Twitter just gives my tongue is not working, and my cover photo just like gives me and Dustin's reaction.
And my tongue's not working. Me at 2021.
Yeah, I know. If you want to check out Chase's Twitter, there it is, even though, like he said, he's not really there a lot. He's not really on social media a lot, but...
and unfortunately, I don't have my own YouTube video. I'm just a writer. I'm not really a narrator.
Well, you are a great writer, and we enjoy your stories. But,
thanks.
But, yeah, if you can get a hold of him and you can get one of his stories to read... or if you can fall into one of the places that has his stories up, like Vidith or Evil Outcast, or I'm sure there's
just Google up C-Lamb 1998 right there in the beside my name, Chase Lamb. Just Google up the C-Lamb 1998, and you should get a lot of results from Outcast. Some other people have done it too, like Miss Goth has done it. Good guys who know who that is.
Thank you, Ray.
All right.
For most more people.
So, who's going to say it? You or me?
It doesn't matter.
Well, I guess since I did the commercial, I'll say it. If you want to do a show, live stream, or even just put a video up on the Nevermore Collective, get in touch with one of us. We can help you do that. And once you've joined the collective, you can leave Nevermore.
I always get her. I always get her with that. All right. Well,
We are off.
and I gotta bounce.
Yeah, that was what's it called? I was a little bit nervous at first, then we just kind of get talking, and yeah, I hope I was good.
You're fine. But all right, I gotta go because I gotta join that MCT. I'm doing a stream with MCT now. In like 10 minutes, I gotta join her thing.
Yeah, it's a good one. And no problem. If you ever want me on here again, just let me know. That's awesome.
But all right, guys, you guys go on. Love you guys.
I hope I was I hope I was one of your favorite hosts. Yay! Thank you, Mia. All right.